Back with us. Now, this week saw a dramatic escalation on the Korean Peninsula, with Pyongyang threatening a preemptive nuclear strike on the U.S. A response was not left wanting, though, with U.S. and South Korean warships and aircraft swarming to the North's coasts. Japan is now reporting that its warships have also been dispatched ahead of a potential missile test by Pyongyang. Washington, though, has canceled a planned intercontinental missile test to avoid further inflaming the situation. Let's now cross live to Michel Chossudovsky, director of the Center for Research on Globalization and professor of economics at the University of Ottawa. Thank you very much for being with us. Now, the standoff on the Korean Peninsula continues. How actually serious is this threat of war? Do you think we're actually going to get to that point?
Well, first of all, we have to clarify where is the threat. The threat is not from North Korea. It is from the United States of America. Just a few weeks ago, it was revealed that the Pentagon had implemented a so-called playbook, which was to ratchet up tension with North Korea during the war games. It has dispatched to the Korean Peninsula, B-2, B-1, F-22 Raptor planes. Several of these are nuclear-capable planes. In other words, they can carry nuclear warheads. And we have to put it in a historical perspective, because these threats have been ongoing for more than half a century, since the end of the Korean War. And looking at U.S. nuclear doctrine, we have a $32 billion refurbishing of nuclear weapons, which is barely acknowledged by the mainstream media. We have a $10 billion refurbishing of tactical nuclear weapons, which can be launched from a B-2 bomber, which have currently been deployed. Then we have a Senate decision which says that nuclear weapons are harmless to the surrounding civilian population and can be used in the conventional war theater.
Well, now, ratcheting up tensions from the U.S. aside, North Korea has actually been guilty of a lot of rhetoric. If they are not actually planning to strike, what are they trying to achieve?
I think that they have made openings to the United States for the last half century with a view to achieving a peace treaty. And every single year, the United States and South Korea hold these war games, and the war games this year is a nuclear attack against North Korea. I've been reviewing scenarios of war games, and I can tell you that the Pentagon is contemplating what is tantamount to a World War III scenario. In other words, they identify the so-called axis of evil, and they target them. Now, we must also understand that these war games, this deployment by the United States, is also intended to threaten China, because more than 10 years, China's whole, its frontiers essentially are encircled with U.S. military facilities. So it's not strictly directed against North Korea. But now, North Korea is a country. Now, let's look a little bit at history. North Korea lost 30% of its population during the Korean War. And how on earth, under those circumstances, can this country be heralded as a threat to global security?
And real quickly, do you see a way out of the stalemate by any stretch of the imagination?
I see a way out of the stalemate if America's allies, the American public, and people across the land in Western countries come to realize that the United States is a threat to global security. The United States and NATO are a threat to global security. And if they wish to wage a preemptive nuclear war on any country in the world, that is a prelude to global warfare. And this notion that you can actually implement peace through by dropping nuclear bombs is a fallacy.
All right. Appreciate your thoughts on the subject. Always interesting to hear you on these interesting topics. That was Michel Chossudovsky, director of the Center for Research on Globalization and professor of economics, live from Montreal, Canada.